Scott Kenneth Homer Bessent, born in August 1962 in Conway, South Carolina, is a distinguished American investor and hedge fund manager. He earned a Bachelor of Arts in Political Science from Yale University in 1984, where he was actively involved as an editor for the Yale Daily News, president of the Wolf's Head Society, and treasurer for the class of 1984. Bessent's career in finance began at Brown Brothers Harriman, followed by positions at Kinekos Associates and Soros Fund Management. In 2011, he returned to Soros Fund Management as Chief Investment Officer, CIO, overseeing a $30 billion family office. In 2015, he founded Key Square Capital Management, a global macro investment firm, launching with $4.5 billion in assets under management. Throughout his career, Bessent has been known for his macroeconomic investment strategies and has been a prominent figure in the hedge fund industry. He has also been involved in various philanthropic endeavors and has served on the University Council of Yale University. In November 2024, President-elect Donald Trump nominated Bessent as Secretary of the Treasury. If confirmed, he would become the second openly gay man to serve in the U.S. Cabinet following Pete Buttigieg, and the highest-ranking openly LGBT person in American history. Bessent would follow Janet Yellen, a labor economist who was the first woman to lead both the Federal Reserve and Treasury, in running the department that manages the nation's finances as well as its tax agency, the Internal Revenue Service. Bessent's nomination has been met with approval from business leaders and markets, who view him as a qualified and competent choice capable of working constructively with the administration. His extensive background in macro markets and reputation as an experienced businessman are expected to be valuable assets in his role as Treasury Secretary. In his new role, Bessent will face challenges such as managing the rising deficit and navigating dollar policy amidst weak domestic demand in Europe and Asia. Some commentators suggest that his approach may be more akin to that of former Treasury Secretary Robert Rubin, who effectively reduced the deficit during the Clinton administration. Initially a supporter of Democratic causes, Bessent became an enthusiastic supporter of Donald Trump, serving as a major donor, fundraiser, and economic advisor during Trump's 2024 presidential campaign. He advocates for deficit reduction, deregulation, and the use of tariffs as negotiating tools to achieve favorable trade terms. In early 2024, Scott Bessent played a significant role in fundraising for Donald Trump's presidential campaign. In February, he hosted an event in Greenville, South Carolina, that generated nearly $7 million. By April, he co-hosted a fundraiser in Palm Beach, Florida, which amassed $50 million for the campaign. Beyond fundraising, Bessent became a key economic advisor to Trump, proposing a three-point economic plan inspired by Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe's Three Arrows policy. He supported Trump's proposal to implement broad tariffs but noted that the pledge to impose a blanket 20% tariff on all imports was a maximalist position, likely to be moderated in negotiations with trading partners. From 2006 to 2011, Bessent served as an adjunct professor of economic history at Yale University, teaching 3 courses during his tenure. He continues to contribute to the university as a member of the University Council. Demonstrating his commitment to education, Bessent has endowed 3 scholarships at Yale, one for first-generation college students, another for students from South Carolina, and a third for students from the Bronx. In addition to his involvement with Yale, Bessent chairs the Investment Committee and serves on the Executive Committee of the Board of Trustees at Rockefeller University. He has also been a board member of God's Love We Deliver, an organization dedicated to delivering meals to homebound individuals with AIDS. Furthermore, Bessent is a member of the Council on Foreign Relations, reflecting his engagement in broader policy discussions. In 2022, Scott Bessent established 2 foundations, one of which led to the creation of the McLeod Rehabilitation Center at Shriners Children's Greenville in South Carolina. This center is dedicated to providing comprehensive pediatric rehabilitation and therapy services, aiming to enhance children's function and quality of life. Beyond his contributions in South Carolina, Bessent extends his philanthropic efforts internationally. He supports the Prince's Trust in London, an organization committed to aiding young people in building better futures through education and employment opportunities. In New York City, he contributes to the Harlem Children's Zone, a nonprofit focused on breaking the cycle of poverty for children and families through a comprehensive network of education, social services, and community-building programs. These endeavors reflect Bessent's commitment to supporting initiatives that provide educational and developmental opportunities for children and young adults, both domestically and abroad. Bessent's appointment reflects a continuation of the trend of selecting Treasury secretaries with strong backgrounds in finance, similar to predecessors like Steven Mnuchin and Henry Paulson. His experience and insights into macroeconomic trends are expected to play a crucial role in shaping U.S. economic policy in the coming years. In August 2024, during an episode of Wall Street Week, host David Weston discussed the support Scott Bessent received from key Trump advisors following his nomination as Secretary of the Treasury.
The first time I really heard anything from Scott Bessent was in a sit-down interview with you. I'm sure Shonali has been following his career for a long time, but that raised my awareness on Wall Street Week. And now we're talking about him as the favorite to run the Treasury. What do you think we could see from Scott Bessent if he is indeed named Treasury Secretary?
First of all, my impression with the Trump administration is it comes from Trump. First and foremost, he will decide what gets done, what doesn't. I can tell you what he has told us, told me, which is number one, President Trump is very concerned about the debt and deficit. You might think that's not true. He swears that he really is very concerned about that. He thinks he can address it by some real cost savings, including with the IRA, because of all those income tax credits, eliminating those, make a lot of money, and also some Medicaid revisions. He also, on tariffs, he does not deny the potential inflationary effect of tariffs, but he really says you have to take that as a positioning by President Trump to get people to the negotiating table to actually negotiate off of those. That's at least what he said to me and to us.
Well, I want to even double down on this because according to the Wall Street Journal, John Paulson is dropping out of the running for Treasury Secretary. Listen, the betting odds, the poly market odds have already been in Scott Bessent's favor. And to your point here, Trump makes his own decisions. Key advisors have been putting forward Scott Bessent. Bessent actually was one of the key men behind the Economic Club of New York speech as well, so very involved early on. What is he saying? What is he putting out there, and how are people latching on to it?
Well, one of the things that I believe is he has been advising Donald Trump personally for quite a while. Talking to him, if not daily, pretty close to daily. And I'll just to editorialize a little bit, which I shouldn't do. Someone like Scott Bessent, whether it's him or not, I take some encouragement from him because he knows the markets. He knows Wall Street. And one of the things I think we have to at least anticipate the possibility of is a debt crisis. And if you have a debt crisis, you need somebody like a Hank Paulson or a Tim Geithner or a Bob Rubin who knows the street, who has credibility. And we know because Scott Bessent's experience with Soros and with Stan Druckenmiller, he knows the markets. And it just may be you need somebody who understands the markets really well, the plumbing of it, depending on what happens over the next 4 years.
Well, David, just quickly here to that point that he knows the markets. Bloomberg has reported that that's one of the reasons why advisors have told Trump he would be good for the job. We know that Bessent recently wrote an op-ed in the Wall Street Journal talking about how markets have embraced Trump and his potential policies here, but markets are fickle. That could turn pretty quickly.
And so is Trump.
Yeah, that's true.
There's no question about it, without a doubt. But we had this experience to some extent, didn't we, in 2016, when everybody thought it was all going to fall apart, and it didn't. And listen, I'll call it reversion to the mean. We have a tendency, particularly in the media, to go to extremes one way or the other, and sometimes the markets do too. It tends to come back towards center. And I think if Scott Bessent were here, he would sort of suggest some version of that looks like they're going to make real changes, make a real difference. He thinks good difference for the better, but you don't want to go too extreme with any of this.
Bessent's nomination has sparked discussions due to his previous association with George Soros, a major Democratic donor, and his shift to supporting Trump's policies. Some critics question his commitment to conservative economic principles, while others view his diverse experience as an asset. Bessent is openly gay and married to John Freeman. They have 2 children. Bessent's extensive experience in macroeconomic investment strategies and his role in shaping economic policies are expected to play a crucial role in the upcoming administration's approach to fiscal and economic challenges.